Hello, everybody. I believe I have some suggestions, some questions from people in the LCS Discord ready to be answered by me. Let's get into it. I do not know any of these questions, so I'm answering them on the fly in 5 seconds. JMN, how do you avoid inting every game? I don't. I int a lot. I mean, I guess you get better. I don't know. Get better at the game. Ciriday, Diana top, trash. Don't ever talk to me again. Cambards, in what areas of top lane do you feel you're lacking in? I think I forget about where the jungler is a lot, and I also don't plan in advance when to invade camps. So mainly like knowledge about the jungle, I guess. Yadid asks, Yorick when? Into Jayce. That's like the only matchup I can think it's good into. Maybe Sion, actually. I could play Yorick versus Sion. Give me some suggestions. Okay, I'm destroying this box. Amanda, brackets Vulcan enjoyer. What has been your favorite place, either international or domestic, that you visited while competing? Probably Iceland. Iceland is just, the air is so clear. I like cold weather usually a little bit more as well. And it's just chill. I feel like there's not that many people there, so you just like can just relax and it's not like overcrowded, too noisy. And the food is actually really good. I was surprised how good the food is, but it is very expensive. But Iceland. Gengar Griffith. Who has been your biggest competition since debuting in the LCS? Probably Impact, I guess. Probably Impact. I mean, Summit, I've only just started playing against this split, so I can't say he's been my biggest competition since then. Back in 2021, I would say Alphari. Alphari was pretty good in 2021. He was probably the hardest top laner for me to play against. JP Jones, if you were to redo one thing in your LoL career, what would it be? Damn, that's a hard question. I don't regret role swapping to mid lane, but I did end up changing back a split after. I don't regret it necessarily. So I don't know, I don't think I would really change anything. Exactly, which type of fudge is your favorite? None, fudge is trash. I hate eating fudge. The only reason why I say fudge is because I don't want to swear. Back then. Nowadays, I just swear. Thank you. Raz, where's Raz? Oh my God, he asked me, why do I look so cute? Oh my God, thank you.
I thought it was anonymous.
Oh, you thought it was anonymous? Okay, buddy. Why do I look so cute? I don't know, it's the genetics, you know. Thank you for the suggestions in the LCS Discord. Make sure to join for more segments like this. Goodbye.
Welcome back to the LCS Lounge. We're doing champ selection here for Cloud9 versus Dignitas.
Team huddle.
After you just heard Fudge get a bunch of suggestions, now he's going to be telling them to the rest of the team, I presume. That's what they're huddling about.
Yeah, I love the idea, first of all, of the suggestion boss all from Discord. I was just trolling. I just want to put that out there.
Wait, so you don't think he's cute?
Oh, okay, chill, relax. I'm not going to answer that question. But when my name got there, I was put on the spot. Just saying, just putting it out
That
there.
was a 13-person huddle.
Yeah,
I was about to say,
is there a limit to how many people you can put in the team huddle for LCS game?
Are those even all C9 members? Do they like grab some people from backstage and be like, hey, yo, you producer, get up here.
Any fans with a jersey, get on stage. They should definitely try and see the biggest huddle you can get before Riot tells you not to do that. I don't know if I should be suggesting this on camera.
Now they're going to be aware.
Every week they have to add another person and see if we catch on.
That's a good call.
That's what they've been doing.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh boy, all right. So what are the things to talk about with Cloud9? First off, that man on your screen, Emenes, had an absolutely banger performance on the Yone last game. And these are his 3 games combined. He had a rough first game, but overall it's looking pretty good. What's your opinion been of him thus far, Medios?
Well, we haven't seen a ton of him so far. Like you said, his first game was super rough, but I'm not convinced anybody could have done well in that situation. He was like playing Victor, getting hard pressured, but you know, on LeBlanc, on Yone, these playmaking champs, he's looked really good. He's done his job and then more, you know, finding really creative pick angles, just going for solo kills, playing very aggressively, and it's awesome to see. It's definitely a player that's looking forward to watching.
100% agree. And I love the fact that after the first game, specifically Blaber talked about how he was talking, you know, he felt nerves on stage. Makes sense. And then he just started playing his style of champions. LeBlanc, Yone, those are the things that I'd like to see him playing. We might even see Akali. And so, like, write down basically what has made him so successful in the Challenger League is what I want to see from him.
Yeah, in the top of day, we talked about how unforgiving their draft actually was against 100 Thieves and how well they were able to execute it when 100 Thieves had this scaling composition and C9 just absolutely punished them. It was really cool also to see them leaning in on their solo laners, which I think is something that they absolutely can do now that Emenes is on the team because he is such a great assassin player.
He also did an interview with Ashley King I saw on the front page of Reddit.
Nice.
The interviews he's done so far, the Travis one too, like he's been very funny,
So
very
charming.
very charming, very confident as well, basically saying like JoJo was the only player he felt like could contest him in lane phase. He's been a treat to get to know. Someone else that we have to get to know is the new bot laner for Dignitas, Tomo. He's looked pretty good so far. They did lose that game yesterday, but it felt like Tomo was actually the player on Dignitas who was kind of keeping them in that game.
Yeah, he was. Oh, I didn't know that he was closest to Chime and Saida. I mean, fair. But my main point on Tomo, confusing Pokemon. But my main point on Tomo is that so the last time we saw him in the LCS stage was on FlyQuest, and they mentioned nerves. That was a situation that no one wants to be a part of, where you're just thrusted into the lineup to fix things when you're on a losing team. It's very similar now, to be fair, but it feels like the confidence is there. His laning phase was great, and he was a win condition on that Caitlyn game. So it's nice to see that he is completely different, I feel like. Put in a similar position, but I feel like the pressure is completely off of him.
I do think that bouncing back from the loss yesterday is going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
For those of you who missed the Dignitas versus Immortals game, how dare you?
Shame on you.
Yeah.
It was actually
Best game of the year.
an incredibly
In any
entertaining
region.
game. In terms of
Maybe
closeness,
Calm
in
down,
terms
Mark.
of there were multiple near Nexus kills for both teams. There were Baron steals. There was a Cloud Soul, so people were flying around. Tomo was super fed, but also just the fact that Dignitas was in 10th, needed to beat the 9th place team to get in 9th, loses to them, and now is going against Cloud9, who yesterday looked like T1, they just were so dominant. That mental hurdle of, oh, we didn't beat Immortals, now we must play Cloud9, I wonder how they're going to respond.
It's definitely going to be hard to bounce back from, well, maybe. On one hand, I think right after losing that game yesterday, it's going to feel horrible. It's going to feel great for the team who won, awful for whoever lost. But at the same time, it was close, could have went either way. And they have looked like a better team since getting Tomo. Not necessarily that Spawn was the reason they were losing, but maybe it's just a breath of fresh air. And yeah, they look solid.
Right from the start, we're seeing C9 just target Santorin. So specifically, jungle bans, easy to play team fighters is just getting stricken off the board. And actually, jungle is getting focused with an Elise ban from Dignitas.
One thing we haven't got a chance to ask you about, Meteos, is most impressive teams for you in the league thus far. Obviously, everyone thinks FlyQuest is super hot, but then between EG, C9, Golden Guardians, there's this kind of debate going on. Who are you having a bit of a tendency towards if you were making finals? Who's going to end up their predictions?
I would lean towards C9. I think that, they haven't won every single game. They have dropped some, but I really like the way that they play and the way that they've won. They don't really opt for the scaling picks. They're not just waiting for their opponents to mess up. They're always really aggressive, just in your face, which I love to see. Their games are never boring, so they're definitely favorites for me.
It's just straight up a worse way to win best-of-1 games in LCS, playing the way they do. But it's a better way to win best-of-5s, I think, because it's going to prepare them better for playoffs. So I think they're going to continue to play early game. Caitlyn already left unbanned, partially because C9 themselves decided to target ban junglers, and they're probably going to have, we'll see, but they'll probably have the stronger early game comp than Dignitas.
It reminds me of their championship split just a little bit, where in the regular season it feels like they're trying things out, not just playing aggressively and learning kind of the hard way if they're playing an early game composition, but also just specific comps where you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't work. This is maybe not our style. So yes, I agree with you completely. Caitlyn getting locked in though, so it seems like this is going to be a Berserker type of game. I would like for them to play towards bot side. I generally don't like seeing weak side Caitlyn's. So want to see what Dignitas ends up responding with.
I will say Cloud9 is also maybe the only team who's playing a lot of triple carry, even quad carry, where you're like, yeah, Blaber, you can play a carry too. They have that, I know this is a terrible comparison, but that IG kind of energy where anyone at any moment can be the star of their team.
Man, we are laying it on Cloud9. We're like,
I am building them up to be giants so they will collapse. I'm getting Meteos to call them the best team in the league.
Blaber Lee Sin.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hype.
And
But yeah,
carrying with the Kalista. All right, there you go.
You're totally right about them playing through top. Have any teams this split been playing carry tops successfully? I feels like C9's the only one who's actually been winning with
After
it.
Cassante got nerfed, it felt like most people kind of bailed on carry tops except C9. Some Jayce
Yeah.
still that other people are playing, but
Yeah, I would say Dignitas, IMT, obviously the bottom of the bracket, and they're the teams that are experimenting a little bit more, but I think we've been seeing consistently that we're playing towards bot side. And this game's no different.
Ezreal, Karma, and actually C9 locking in Kalista probably support. I don't think you want Caitlyn support.
unless you carry on T1, and we already just made that comparison. So.
And this
Also,
is good.
this is perfect for C9, right? Because as many like memes as we've made for about Zven, like to point out something that we've already talked about, like anyone on this team can carry, and we talked about them maybe leaning in on their solo laners. Here it's leaning on the fact that both of their bot laners are technically AD carries.
Yeah, the confusing thing for me, just because the champion just got released as Aurelion Sol, because we saw high priority in the last game as a first pick. This time around, it's actually being dropped into 4-5 with no one even banning it. I'm just interested to see if any team takes the bite or if just both of them are handshaking, saying that it's not worth it.
I think there's a chance Dig could last pick it here if
Yeah.
it looks like a good situation for it, but it doesn't really seem to me like something that Cloud9 would want to play. It's, you know, not particularly good early. It's really good at scaling, but that's not how they try to win their games. And I don't really see Dig blind picking it either because, you know, again, if you're playing against an early game team, you kind of want something that is strong early as well.
Makes sense to me.
Jensen is also a player who's not always the fastest to like jump on the new champion. And so like while Aurelion Sol, this is the first time it's enabled, he could play it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just is sticking in his comfort zone right now with the rest of the team and trying to figure out exactly what works for them, leaning more towards his kind of staple control mages and stuff, but we'll see.
To that point, though, it is still open, or they could flex the Jayce because Jayce can go top, so they can save the last counter pick for 5 for mid for Jensen if he does want to play it, and they just wait out whatever C9 picks.
That's a flexy team comp. They could go Jayce, Gragas mid-top
True.
flex. They can do Gragas jungle flex if they really want to against Lee Sin.
Yeah.
So,
Historically,
I was
that's been a
actually
good matchup.
kind of assuming that it was jungle Gragas.
yeah, I mean,
Knowing
we've seen
Santorin.
more mid lane Gragas than jungle Gragas lately, so it could be anything. But
Baby.
knowing
Lee
this
Sin
gets
LeBlanc.
That's a fun one to lane against.
Oh God.
Yeah, we're definitely not seeing Azul.
Oh, Cho'Gath.
Okay.
Another recipient of some recent buffs on this patch. This is actually, I really like seeing C9 pull this out because I'm a Cho'Gath enjoyer. Until he takes over the meta and then it gets boring.
Cho'Gath is really, really strong if he doesn't get punished in lane. He's somewhat punishable. He's not super strong early game, and if he falls behind, he can kind of get snowballed on. But, you know, if he can reach his core items and just become this unkillable tank, he is so strong.
do it.
There it is, Renekton. I think that was the flex. He probably picked Cho'Gath expecting it to be the Jayce top lane, but it's going to be Renekton. So you already gave us the... I want to hear from you, Jat.
I just don't want Renekton against it. I don't know. Like Renekton Gragas is a
You don't
combo
like
against.
Mostly AD. I mean, there's not that much armor stacking on C9's team. It's just the Cho who can really.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they could actually punish it. They'll play through top, but then I still don't see Renekton carrying a game against Caitlyn LeBlanc. So
Yeah.
What about you, Medios? How do you feel about both teams' drafts?
The drafts seem okay. I think Dig's comp is kind of one of those T1 style comps where you're like really just hoping to outplay your opponent and get favorable lane matchups by flexing everything. I'm not really sure it's going to happen this game. I think C9 is really strong, and they've got, you know, a really strong bot lane and mid, so I don't think you're going to even have the opportunity to punish Cho'Gath this game unless you just are going to completely concede the other side of the map.
All right, well, thank you for joining us for Champ Select. That's going to do it for us here. We're going to go to Flowers and Kobe on the call.
Hey, that's us, Flowers and Kobe. It's C9 versus Dig. C9 coming off of a hell of a win yesterday. Dignitas also played a game yesterday. And so now they're going to look to redeem themselves here today. Cloud9 is going to look to keep it rocking and rolling.
Dignitas were in fact here yesterday. I do want to take this moment to shout out their content though, because after their one win that they did get, they put out some really good content, which was Jensen reading the social comments of the positive comments in Reddit after their first win. It was pretty funny, so go take a look.
That's the one where like every sentence was bleeped because he's
Not every sentence, just the last like giant copy pasta.
Okay.
We don't want to spoil the
Oh
content.
yeah, go check it out for yourself.
Yeah, go check it out. Get those Dig views.
Okay, so the one thing I'm looking at is kind of, you know, what the desk was talking about right before they tossed to us, which was saying the Dignitas composition is not something very traditional. There's a lot of poke here, there's some disengage, there's some kite back, but if they fall behind, I'm kind of worried. I feel like the Dig game plan has got to be sharp here in this one.
Well, I, for one, am glad that they are going non-traditional nowadays, because if you're the bottom team in the LCS, I want you to do the wildest stuff that you can think of.
You gotta get wacky.
Give me the wildest stuff. This isn't the wildest stuff that I've ever seen, because it is very, 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 very heavily indexed into poke composition. Jayce, Ezreal, Karma, Gragas, all very classic combinations of a poke composition. But it definitely is non-traditional, as you say, and especially I want to pay attention to the lane phase versus Cloud9, because we just saw CLG absolutely demolishing bottom side lane phase. If you're playing Ezreal Karma, this is one of my favorite combos into Caitlyn lanes, but you have to hit your skill shots early on.
Yeah.
If you can both hit Qs as the Kalista is moving up to try and get the Hail of Blades auto trades on you and back off and win that little poke exchange, that little health exchange, then you can do better for later. But Zven actually does a good job here sneaking in some damage as he gets the distance on IgNar after the Mantra Q was already used. Get a little bit of money off the sickle as well as a little bit of damage back.
And it was even last game that you were applauding the ability of Luger and Poom to hit all those skill shots in the matchups that they were playing. That's one of the reasons why they got ahead so much so early. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on how that goes down here in the bottom side. I'm also got my eyes on Blaber here on the Lee Sin. Last game we saw closer on it. Really wasn't able to get a whole lot of anything done. Contracts read him like a book that he had already read a few times in years previously and knew the way the story was going to go anyway. He was everywhere that Lee wanted to be, and he was there first, and he was there better. So I want to see how well Blaber can pilot this and how many of those early plays he can find on Lee Sin. When you pick Lee, I want to see you busy early and often.
Yeah, and the analyst has kind of touched on this a little bit too, shouting out the combination with LeBlanc. Lee Sin and LeBlanc is one of the oldest mid-jungle kill pressure duos in the game, because the champions have existed for so long, but also because they work together so well. They're extremely mobile, both of them, and you can set up a lot of different kill angles. Blaber, that you want to keep your eyes on, has gone from red quadrant over to blue and ganking Armut already.
Well, we just saw Fudge use the Rupture. It'll come back up here in a couple of seconds, and I expect once that Rupture is ready, Blaber's going to want to pick his moment here. If they can get Armut to use the Slice, then they know they're going to be in a really good spot. Rupture is used, Armut flashes, Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, one more hit'll do it. Armut's down and C9's on the board.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. It's the patience that pays off, Flowers. You know, as we're all staring at him standing in that tri-brush, they see the stun used by Renekton. Guess what? That means Blaber can go right into tower range. He doesn't care, because Renekton's going to turn around and stun you in tower range. They finish it off the kill. And, you know, Rupture, as you said, gets the flash out of Armut early. So very nice, patient play from Blaber does get rewarded. And now the classic, really good awareness here by Jensen. They did have the inkling Blaber's coming to steal the second Raptors, and you never want to get surprised over the Raptor pit if you're getting pushed in, especially against this matchup. And Blaber still has his flash too, so he for sure could have gone for it and try to flash right back out. Jensen does get the awareness. Santorin a little bit later on the start because he moved over after they saw Blaber, but should be able to get the small ones, and he has Smite. Big one acquired too.
Nicely done from Santorin, being able to make sure that they trade those chickens back and forth. But Blaber and Emenes are not just going to let him walk away for free. They want to chase after him, but yeah, the Scuttle Crab speed is going to be enough to get the big man out of trouble. So Emenes and Blaber just go right back to what they were doing. But it is that first blood for Blaber, getting things rolling in the top lane. Talking about how, you know, Cho'Gath is one of those champions that can be exposed a little bit in the laning phase, but if you let him get rolling, man, he's hard to deal with.
Yeah, and honestly, now even more than previously, too, because there were some recent buffs to Cho'Gath. When you max Rupture, 20 more damage on it, and the other buffs were the majority mana cost buffs to help out that lane phase, so now it is easier for you to have a stronger lane phase with mana cost reductions on Q and W, as well as the extra damage we talked about, but Zven is already dead!
Zven's down, and it's Tomo and IgNar. 2v2 win over Berserker and Zven.
Really good all in right there from the Dignitas bottom lane. We said, got to hit those skill shots. They pinpoint on Zven, take him down, Arcane Shift in, flashed in. Both flashes down here for the Dig bottom lane, though, so maybe Cloud9 are pinging those, thinking, hey, let's try and punish them for that. They killed Zven. We gotta avenge our support death here, because they will at least have flash advantages.
Emenes jumps in versus Jensen. That hammer thing works kind of wacky with those distortions of LeBlanc. Shock Blast going to pop the passive there of the LeBlanc, so no extra clone to get him out of trouble. And because of the fact that they force him to take this long wrap around, it means Jensen's gonna have more solo time here alone with the wave to get this one shoved up, get it crashing in. Santorin and IgNar both still hovering around.
Yeah, and the reason that interaction looks so weird is because LeBlanc's distortion is a blink, not a jump or a dash.
Right.
And so Jayce hammer, you can knock people out of the air, you can, you know, smash them down if they're dashing around, but blink from Emenes used, no problem.
The revert part is the blink. The first part is a dash, the reversion is a blink.
Exactly.
I think it actually might be the only ability in the game
It's a
that's
trick
both.
question, it's both.
Yeah, it's one of the only abilities in the game that is both. Chain connects, however, with Jensen back underneath the turret range. It means Blaber can't jump in and follow that one up. Pretty impressive numbers on the left side of your screen you're seeing right now for both Blaber and Zven on their current champions. Zven with more than a 75% win rate on Kalista, nearly a 9 KDA, man.
Blast cone too, he hits the Q.
Oh, and Blaber just goes in and steals it. That feels bad, man. Dignitas wants that one back.
Or it feels great for the Lee Sin. Blaber, honestly, first blood acquired, Dragon Steel acquired. He's living the Lee Sin dream, Flowers. This champion was buffed a little while ago, and it has taken an extra patch for pros to really start to jump on it. Once top laners started practicing it as well, it really felt like all the jungles were like, all right, we're definitely going to play Lee again. This is one of the most fun champions ever designed. 81 damage there close, so he got it nice with the 681 combo. Lee Sin, when you have your Q execution damage taking the Sonic Wave in, that's why everybody is always so scared of Lee Sin coming in and stealing your dragons away from you. Blaber times it well, seasoned vet, so it never got, you know, low enough for Santorin to pure smite it. If you can combo, obviously Gragas also, W auto combo is gonna be your go-to move.
Oh boy, okay. Armut had the slice at least to be able to get away from the rupture there. If he does not get out of that rupture, Blaber gets in range for the Sonic Wave, the resonating strike, the kick, all that good stuff, and the Lizard is dead. But because of the fact they had to scare him away, because of the fact that Fudge has control here in the top side, it means that C9 are able to rotate the guys over to take this first neutral objective in the top half of the map. They already got the dragon thanks to Blaber's steal, so they're controlling everything right now as Emenes tries to put himself in a spot to be able to find a kill here on Santorin, but with Santorin being able to escape from the lethal damage thanks to his flash, Emenes is now in a bit of a tricky position. LeBlanc is one of the best champions to try to navigate your way out of something like this, but when you got 3 dudes chasing after you, Shock Blast tags him, so that means the timer will not expire anytime soon to go for an execute. Emenes has to try to find some fancy feet, but there's not enough fanciness in the world to get you out of that, and Jensen's getting the money as another kill comes through. Zven's taken low yet again. IgNar kills him yet again. Dignitas wins the 2v2 yet again.
Flowers, again, this is one of my favorite duos into Caitlyn lanes, and they're playing it so well. The desk also highlighting Tomo from yesterday. They're really, really hammering this one home. Another kill. Really nice ultimate into Arcane Shift away to ensure he doesn't give the trade back too. Look how close the health is. So IgNar goes in, gets the root, Ignite is on, they hit the Mantra Q, they hit the ultimate, and jumps out of range so Berserker can't answer the other kill. Down again. Zven, 100% of the Cloud9 deaths.
Tomo coming into Dignitas has done some good stuff for this team. They're still in a struggling spot. They're still 1-11, but that's not the kind of play I think you get with Spawn. Spawn was struggling a lot on this team. They needed to make some kind of a change. They bring Tomo in from Academy, and he's been doing better. Being able to have a guy that you can trust to be part of these 2v2 kills, to set these things up and have this lane stand on its own 2 legs, I think might be the kind of thing that can help turn things around for Dignitas. Maybe not immediately, but in the future as they keep working on things. 79 farm on his Ezreal versus the 93 of Berserker. It's the C9 bottom lane that is still ahead in terms of the farm, but the Dig bottom lane duo getting those 2 kills for their team so far feels really good for them.
Let's see how they deal with the Blaber invade on Gromp. Pushing bottom lane gives you a lot of extra power to go for, but Santorin kites the Gromp all the way up into the tri-bush, so it fully leashes right back to starting position, and they will only lose a couple of control wards. to the invade, to the bottom side pressure.
Blaber again in enemy territory, always looking for an angle, always looking for a play, looking for a way to drop off the Rift Herald eyeball and just grab some extra money here in the mid lane too. I like when teams drop Herald mid first time around. It means if they can secure the second one, you're almost guaranteed to knock down that tier 1 turret in mid lane by coming back and using it again.
Yeah, nice plate assassination done by Blaber. And you mentioned mid turret is primary for most people, but especially when you've got a LeBlanc, you want Emenes to be able to get out of lane, start roaming around, look for those LeBlanc rush plays that everybody else dreads. Fudge, by the way, of course, spamming his ultimate. He is up to already 4 stacks, 320 bonus health for the feasting Cho'Gath at the moment, and seems to be benefiting a decent amount from a lot of these mana changes here so far in lane phase. Looks pretty clean.
Jensen's gonna walk up and just keep this lane shoving as his opponent is not nearby to do anything about it. Because LeBlanc is going Ignite versus the teleport, it does mean that Dignitas has that extra macro playability as the game goes forward, especially once we hit a couple minutes from now and all of those become unleashed. It will give Jensen the opportunity to show up more easily than Emenes can. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, Zven has been rotating around doing a little bit of vision work, so that means it's up to Berserker to just hang back, not get himself caught out in any sort of a bad spot. It does mean that Tomo and IgNar have control over the bot side push, with Santorin hovering nearby.
And I like what Fudge is doing right now on Cho'Gath. He pushed one more wave to get the recall off now to come for Dragon. He can just walk here, and then after the fight, teleport back to the top lane. So Cloud9 bringing all 5 as soon as Fudge walks down on the Cho'Gath. His feast is not quite back up for the Giga guarantee on the Dragon, but they're going to be able to push Dig right now. A little bit of a delay on the collapse from Dig. Armut is coming down from top side as well, though.
Cho'Gath ulti is about to come back up, so whether or not they want to use it for a fight or for the objective will be up to them. Emenes needs to reset his spot here a little bit. Still stuck on the wrong side of the terrain. IgNar gonna throw out another one of those inner flames. He gets the ignite, but the shield, the safeguard from Blaber, along with the heal of Berserker, will keep Emenes alive. Dignitas, however, has done significant damage to the enemy mid laner, who does not have a teleport. It means they have man advantage. Tomo's pretty low, but he is Ezreal. He can still contribute with a couple of mystic shots over the wall. Armut trying to challenge Blaber here in the pit over the Drake. Berserker using the trap to keep IgNar away, make it so he's not able to participate. Blaber gets right back away, but Jensen finishes him off. It'll be traded a 1-for-1, but now Zven dies too. Dignitas is out fighting Cloud9 here in the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, Cloud9 thought they could take the 4v5 there. Blaber gets off the Dragon and goes for the kick, but gets locked up. Dignitas shut him down. Lee Sin in the dirt. Dragon resets as well. That was definitely a bit of a bungle here from Cloud9. First of all, Emenes on the top side taking so much damage and having to go back. Then we're looking at a big kick here. You can see what he's thinking though. Ooh, juicy triple kick on a Renekton high health target. That's gonna hit all 3 of them. But the quick reaction from Armut, as soon as Lee Sin Qs to him, instant stuns.
Yep.
And so Cloud9 don't get the dream scenario 3-person kick that they wanted. Nicely shut down there by Armut, and a bit of disrespect from Blaber.
Dignitas has been doing a good job answering what Cloud9 is throwing at him here early on in this game. We are at the 14-minute mark. Means early game's officially over. Plates have officially fallen. And Dignitas is officially right back into the Dragon Pit, trying to claim this second Drake of the game for themselves. C9 stole the first one away. This time around, Blaber's not around to do it again.
And Ocean is one of the best for poke comps like this. You know, if you just want to siege up, throw out damage, you're going to have the extra regeneration here constantly. Just puts more emphasis on Cloud9 getting that engaged, not giving them time to extend the duration and get more out of the buffs.
Emenes jumped in there to just put a little bit of damage onto Tomo with a quick burst, gets himself right back out. IgNar's going forward, tries to root him up, but will not be able to stay in range to guarantee it. Meanwhile, with the bodies from Dignitas down here in bottom lane, it means that C9 feels free to take that second Herald on the other side of the map. Remember, they could just decide to use that mid if they want to try to knock down the remainder of the tier 1 turret, but it looks like Blaber also has his eyes potentially on the opportunity to make a move topside. Armut has fallen back, recognizing that his team is in bottom lane. C9's likely to try to overload stuff on topside. He doesn't want to be caught out here.
Yeah, Berserker heads over with the Demolish proc from Fudge 2. That tower is toast.
Armut gets away. All he can do is watch the turret fall. The trade is happening on the other end of the map as Tomo and IgNar are working together to take that one down. The Herald is going to be summoned up here in the top lane still, but aiming for the second turret. Remember, these are worth so much money compared to the other ones. It's a pretty big influx of gold for C9 to grab it, going from just about 400 gold up to 1.1 thousand gold up instead. Feels really good to grab that. Armut's going to stop it before it goes any further, but it's a 2-to-1 tower lead for C9.
Yeah, nice job. The best case scenario is getting the secondary outer tower. It's worth the most, worth much more than the one in the middle. Well, due to the split push buffs, Cloud9 going to reset right after that and get back out with the Hex Gates as well. Shouldn't be too big of an issue here with the sides traded. Long lane on bottom side here being pushed out already by Fudge. No teleports for either of those top laners, or the mid laners for that matter.
Fudge on that Cho'Gath is going to become a problem as this game keeps going forward. You can see Frozen Heart as the first item in his inventory. All of the real threats on the enemy team are physical damage. The only real AP threat is going to be that Jungle Gragas, but Jungle Gragas can't really kill Cho'Gath. He should never really be aiming for Cho'Gath. So as long as Fudge just stacks health and armor, he's going to be able to become this brick wall that can absorb a lot of the poke. He can stand in front of a Shock Blast. He can stand in front of a never-ending barrage of Mystic Shots. And Cloud9, that means that they can then use him to always lead the charge forward, close the gap on this poke comp, and make them lose ground as they retreat.
Yep, and he's walking right back down to regain control of the push on bottom lane too. Walking right up to Armut, forcing him out.
Get out of here, Crocodile.
The brick wall pushes him out. Blaber comes over as well, and Cloud9 once again will be a step ahead in the map control here. Tower is going to drop first. Emenes goes to answer topside too, so this time around, Dig don't even get the response.
Dignitas just struggling to try to answer what C9 is doing here. Fudge and Blaber are going to work together, take down that tier 1 in bottom lane. They'll pick that up. That is 3 turrets to 1 now. The count for Cloud9 versus Dignitas. Tomo gets hit with the ace in the hole from Berserker there in mid lane, takes him critically low, does have to back off a little bit, and you're going to see the Cloud9 duo here in bottom lane try to get their recalls off. They let Blaber complete his recall while Fudge stops his to guarantee that Armut can't stop both of them.
All right, easy move here for Cloud9. Just keep taking away jungle camps, slowly increasing your lead while you have Caitlyn constantly push up mid lane here. Berserker pushes another wave into the mid tower. Doesn't hit the minion, so he wasn't going for the wave clear, just going for a bit of a check on position to see if Caitlyn was still around, I guess.
1 minute until our next Drake spawns. Hextech Soul feels really good for everybody all of the time. Just a really powerful overall buff. So I'm curious how much attention both sides are going to be willing to commit to this. Still pretty early on into the game. IgNar and Santorin clearing out some of the vision in this bottom side river that was placed down by C9. Fudge still just stacking more and more and more and more health here on the Cho'Gath, up to over 3,000. Rupture hits Jensen. It's a very valuable target, but Dignitas is not in any kind of danger just yet. That tier 1 turret still standing in mid gives them a point to fall back to, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. You want to knock down that turret. You want to make sure LeBlanc and everybody else can chase after these guys. Armut's been caught out of position, though. He'll use the Dominus, but what's it even going to do? Armut getting caught with his pants down, and that could be a problem. Fudge won't be popped as easily. The Cho'Gath is much tankier, and Cloud9 now stands 5v4 for the next 27 seconds. They're not done quite yet. Emenes over the wall wants to throw out a little bit of burst, but can't get it all onto the same target. Now that mid lane tier 1 that was that bastion of safety for Dig, that's gonna fall. Gold lead 2,500. Drake is in their sights. C9 have found momentum here in the mid game.
Yeah, and I want to take a moment to talk about retaking. This idea in League of Legends, where Cloud9 had just taken these jungle camps and counter jungled like we talked about. So if you're re-entering an area where your opponents just counter jungled you, you have to assume that there are wards there, that they have the vision advantage.
Right.
And since they are pushed up in mid lane too, they have the ability to rotate quicker over to you. So retaking, you have to have so much more of a cautious approach in retaking that territory. And Armut got punished. Now though, Zven
Zven is caught. Zven is dead. That flash was unfortunate. It's a rough game for Zven. 0-4-2 here on the Kalista. Dignitas has been picking on him constantly. But now, are they going to get caught out instead? They will. Fudge with the kill on Santorin. And now Dignitas has to fall back. Berserker's winning the 1v1 against Tomo off to the side, while Fudge remains an impenetrable front line. It's Jensen getting kicked back into Fudge's waiting arms. Sonic way into the resonating strike, but they can't quite kill him just yet. Jensen and Tomo and IgNar are all falling away as Blaber's about to fall down, and Armut picks him up. Now he sidesteps out of the way of the rupture, but nobody else from Dig can get in range. Armut falls, and everybody else tries to fall back. Fudge continues pushing forward, wants to see if he might be able to grab one of these guys, but it's Emenes who's the real threat. If he can distort over the wall, he might find something. But he doesn't have the cooldowns. He doesn't have his ulti distortion ready to go in time. And it means Dignitas will disengage.
And guess what? LeBlanc just gets scarier from here on out. The only thing Emenes has to worry about is point and click CC, because he's so quick with his distortions. And the only way that happens is if he gets right into point blank range of Armut, or Armut has flash and can flash on him. Other than that, it's very hard for a poke comp to actually punish a LeBlanc unless there's a mistake in positioning from the LeBlanc, or you're just extremely good in funneling those skill shots and be able to pinpoint. But look how much freedom he has in these fights. Blaber is creating space. Look at that. Goes in, Q, kicks the 2 tanks, gets the Jayce right into Armut. Blaber actually kind of smurfing here as he goes back in on a Jensen, chunks down. The fed Jayce is the most dangerous person on Dig. He does end up going down for his troubles, because Armut's able to get the Q off here into the back lines. But that whole duration, because all the focus was on Blaber, Emenes and Fudge just run the fight, walking around, splitting up the members of Dig. So it didn't even matter for Cloud9 that Zven got picked off so early on. They're still able to come out ahead. They still retain control of their vision around this Baron. And Dignitas gonna have to regroup and try and get something out of the possible range advantage here. Poke needs to continuously land before you get the full engage.
Right.
Their #1 priority, dodge these ruptures. Don't let Cloud9 get a flank off or a rupture hit on you, because those are their main ways to engage. And just try and get the most out of your range damage here.
So Fudge on the Cho'Gath, I didn't comment on it because we had the fight happening. He completed his second item. It is Heartsteel, the mega HP stacking item on top of a champion who can already stack HP because of his ultimate. If this game goes the distance, it is very easy for Fudge to hit 6,000 health if he keeps building tanky items. He's already over 4K right now.
Nice.
This is a very scary Cho'Gath.
So that was some good adaptation here by Dig. The poke members throwing their poke at the origin of the distortion, so they still got some pretty good harassment onto Emenes. Might not be as safe of a game as I was setting it up to be for him. He has to be very careful about this positioning, and Dig are definitely looking to try and time those shots with his distortions, see if they can snipe him out. Just goes back to base in this case though, does not drop, still has the 4 stacks on his Dark Steel.
Dignitas will clear out that Scuttle Crab top side, give themselves a little bit of unremovable vision. Meanwhile, Fudge versus Armut. This is not a fight that the Crocodile wins ever at all. Even a little bit. Not now, not later, not ever. He can run, and he does manage to run away, but that's about the best you can hope for in that situation.
Good job. I mean, it does attract the Cloud9 attention there, so Jensen is able to get a top side turret, takes down the outer while Armut goes into evasive maneuvers.
Yeah.
It is able to escape. Still going to be C9 pushing out mid and bottom, but like the look here for Dig, getting a little scrappy, chipping away at the gold lead.
10 feast stacks for Fudge already. Remember, you can get 6 for free off of the minions, and then champion kills as well as dragon or baron kills are going to get you the rest of them. So very, very strong boy here. IgNar tries to get away from him. I don't know if the feast would have been enough to kill IgNar there, but now Fudge and Zven might be in some trouble with a TP coming in. Fudge already had to use the flash. They finally might have enough ammo to take down the big old Cho'Gath, and yes, they will. Jensen's grabbing the shutdown money, but Armut's going to be traded back thanks to Emenes. Blaber disengages with a kick, and it's 4v4 on the Rift. Oh, dies! A beautiful long-range shot coming down from Jensen and Tomo together.
I guess they don't need CC to lock down the LeBlanc after all. Flowers, the best CC is death. They snipe him. Jensen as well as Tomo. Pinpoint accuracy. Berserker trying to do it all himself though.
Berserker getting real close up in their faces, making sure that he's trying to maximize these DPS windows. Dignitas has more men, but their health bars aren't exactly super nice right now. Jensen threatening another kill there with an accelerated shock blast. Zven has to save Berserker to get him away from it. The Drake's at 3K. Blaber wants to try to steal. Santorin off. Blaber takes him down and steals it away again. He just keeps getting away with it. They'll finally pick up the kill, but Fudge is back, and he's madder than hell. He missed the rupture, but Berserker aims true. Fudge gets the kill credit, and Dig get wiped out.
How much work is Berserker doing, Flowers? That was insane stuff from him. The confidence on this guy, you love to see it growing with every game he gets with Cloud9. Absolutely as aggressive as possible. Here's the beginning of our story where the raid boss Fudge was originally killed, but as you know, there is a surprise twist at the end of this where Fudge ends up coming back and gets the extra kills. And Blaber, as you mentioned, is going to end up stealing the dragon as well. Here's the disengage, the double snipe. Emenes gets hit by the Ezreal as well as the shock blast, basically same time there, getting the double for Jensen. And this was Berserker trying to do put out as much pressure as he possibly could. Zven as well gets chased down by Jensen. He ends up having a flash. Blaber goes in. I can't even see the health bar. Yeah. They were stacking champions on top of the dragon. I couldn't even see it, but Blaber's instincts reign supreme. He gets the dragon once again, lands the smite. And while Tomo did take him down in the aftermath, Fudge returns to get some payback.
Fudge returns and he takes a big old bite out of him. You can see a little bit of a grin there on Zven's face as C9 now up 2,500 gold. The big thing about that fight too, AD carry versus AD carry, and Jensen is also the special guest star of the matchup here on the damage chart for the last fight. But C9 now on sole point because they were able to yoink yet another Drake away from Dignitas. This now puts a lot of pressure on Dig for the rest of the game. They've got 3 minutes until the Drake spawns, but Cloud9 is not going to wait for that to happen before another neutral objective is fought over. They have started up the Baron. Dignitas knows what's going on thanks to Tomo's ultimate. Jensen's trying to come around from the side, but Emenes sees him on the flank. Now, Emenes might need to be a little bit careful. Distorts over the wall to get away from Santorin. Still ends up eating the damage from Shock Blast. Baron's going to be secured by Fudge and C9. Armut's in the middle of everybody, but not for long. He's already dead. Tomo, Santorin, Jensen, IgNar, everybody else trying to get away. Blaber takes a lot of damage looking to chase them. He's nearly killed himself, but not quite yet. Dignitas still walking away from this one, seeing if they might be able to grab anything off the back of losing that Baron to the C9 rush.
Cloud9 are able to get it. You know, they have so many tools to secure the Baron with Cho'Gath's Feast right now doing 1,500 damage, so it even out damages the upgraded, uber upgraded and buffed this season smites of 1,200 damage, plus having the Kalista and having, you know, least in execution as well. But still, I have to say, this is looking like a much better Dignitas. Tomo's having some really good looks. A lot of poke damage landing there. They're still fighting. Jensen on the Jayce, putting out a lot of damage as well. Cloud9 still in a very, very commanding position, but this Dignitas is not rolling over.
Dignitas is trying as hard as they can to stand up against this Cloud9 machine here. 2 minutes until the Drake Soul spawns. Baron's gonna last just about until then. It'll actually be alive for about 15 seconds after it spawns, so if C9 wanna just burn it down ASAP, they could do that. Abyssal Mass completed on Fudge means even more damage amp for both himself and his teammates, particularly the LeBlanc. And C9 is just going to force things down in 2 different lanes at the same time. Bottom lane has 4 out of 5 of the players, while Emenes is separated from them, split pushing over in mid. As Fudge continues to be the front line with just shy of 6,000 HP, 5,990, he is not afraid of the poke to allow Berserker and Zven to provide the firepower right behind him.
Yep, the pressure coming. 4-1 split push. Emenes brings up the mid. Minions as well. Mid tower starting to get poked down here with LeBlanc autoing as well. Slowly but surely, the siege taking effect.
Man, Dignitas cannot stabilize against this. They are hemorrhaging at this point. Emenes takes down the tier 3 turret in mid, and now C9 is bringing the brunt of their force here into bottom lane. Emenes ready to join up with everybody else. Blaber stuck in the middle, he might be killed, but no, he won't. Armut's the only one to die so far, and C9's gonna pick up their first inhib here in bottom lane. Shock blast from Jensen hits Blaber, takes him low, but he ain't dead. And the mid lane inhibitor falls next. 2 inhibs down in the blink of an eye, and C9 has a lot of minions pushing up here in mid. They can just keep trying to push. They may just be able to end the game right now. They still got 25 seconds before Armut is back on the map. Blaber is very low, but the first Nexus turret has already fallen. Fudge finds a knockup on a Santorin. The feast isn't ready just yet, but Emenes finds blood in the water and absolutely tears Tomo apart. Dig is stuck back on the fountain stairs, and one Baron is all it took. 30 minutes in, C9 finds the win.
Another beautiful game from Cloud9. I'm having a difficult time right now deciding if I give my player of the game to Fudge or Berserker Flowers. Those two put in so much work. That was your whole front line and your whole back line right there is those two players.
Yep.
Fudge and Berserker doing a lot. Emenes definitely had a lot of fun on his LeBlanc as well. But my goodness, Cloud9, this Cloud9 team really ramping up here through the season, gaining a lot of momentum. Very nice weekend from them.
These guys are looking scary as a squad. I do want to give props to Dignitas, especially after the game that they had yesterday. I was curious, what were they going to look like today? How bad was that match versus Immortals going to be affecting them? The composition was one of those comps that requires a high barrier of execution to be able to make it work. And early on, they were going blow for blow. They were winning the 2v2s bottom lane against Berserker and Zven. They were fighting the kills on Zven and disengaging in time before they could be punished. They unfortunately lost a couple of Drakes to some incredible steals from Blaber. They found some good snipes around these fights to keep things pretty close. They did a lot better than I thought they would do, but obviously there's still a long way to go for this team.
Yeah. Love watching Cloud9 play. They're definitely having fun out there. Both Blaber and Emenes on the LeBlanc Lee Sin, making some big plays. You mentioned the steals, also getting the first blood, some big explosions. All right, I've decided I'm gonna give it to Berserker.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Fudge got caught the one time going into enemy jungle, and that's one more time than Berserker did. Deathless on the Caitlyn, so much pressure, fearless at the dragon fight. Love to see it.
It's the dragon fight that really seals the deal for me because of the fact that it looked like Dignitas should have been able to take control of that situation. They should have been able to secure the Drake. And Berserker's just like, no, I'm Caitlyn, screw you. And he just stands up, walks within auto attack range, and starts going boom, 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 boom. Like that was Chad Caitlyn gameplay.
Yeah, you always appreciate the AD carries that are willing to put themselves into danger to be able to get that damage out. Thank you, Emenes. This one is for you, Mom and Dad. Appreciate it. Yo, shout outs.
This one is for you and your dad. To the person that is at it there. So hell yeah, wholesome.
So that was a fan shout out, I think.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was cool. Hell yeah. I always love the wholesomeness you get here at the LCS.
Me too. We're a big family here.
Yeah. Big family, all having a good time. Hey, after the break, Meteos is going to be doing some VoD review, and then it's time for the battle of good and evil. Evil Geniuses versus Fly coming up next. Don't miss it.
First thing we're going to do is teach you how to use the burner. Then you're going to turn it all the way counterclockwise. Ooh! Ooh! Now that I taught you how to turn this burner on.
Okay.
Let's go.
Hold on. I got this. I got this.
Let's go ahead and do it. Okay.
Okay. Sick. Easy.
Perfect.
Of course.
Can you crack it with one hand, or do you need both?
Can I see
You're
it?
an expert? Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
show you.
I want to see it. No. Like, crack it like this. Like the Tyler 1 clip. Like that. Oh!
You can't feel the pepper. Okay.
Okay. Oh, you feel it? Yeah!
Oh, that's bad.
This bad?
Okay, rate his 0 to 10.
I'm not gonna buy this, you know?